My name is Robert Davids. I'm with the Department of Economic Development and Tourism at the Western Cape Government, and I'll be your host for today's session. So it's really good to see all of you here. I think we have some of our audience members who've been with us before, but also some new faces. So a warm welcome to all of you. It's quite chilly in Cape Town, so I hope wherever you are, it's a little bit warmer. Um, okay, as I said, it's really good to be here and really great to share this time with you. We have a very exciting session today. We have Jade Wyngaardt with us, who is a digital tech entrepreneur, an award-winning entrepreneur, a business owner, a mom, and many, many other things which we'll get into in a few minutes. So it's a really great opportunity for us to share some time with Jade, and to Jade to thank you for your time today, and thanks for sharing this time with us, and we're really looking forward to spending the afternoon with you. We'll get back to a bit more detail about Jade in a second, but it's great to have you with us and on board today. So what I'd like to do now is just for those people who are new to the session, just to give you a bit of background on our Go Digital Western Cape webinar series. The series has started a couple of months ago. Today happens to be our 16th webinar, so it's our Sweet 16, and it's a really exciting one for us to have. And this session, as it was initiated by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, as I said earlier, and the purpose was really initially, the intent and the purpose was initially to be a direct source of support to small businesses in the Western Cape as a direct response to COVID-19. And that was an initiative which was started, I think, back in April now. And this webinar series is part of a much broader initiative, or broader set of projects at least, within the overall initiative. And it's one where we, as the department, specifically the digital economy unit, that we are hoping to share information, create a lot of awareness, and also provides direct support to the SME community in the Western Cape as a response to COVID-19, and helping you to navigate this really challenging time, because as we know by now, this has been a really challenging period for all of us. And the webinar series is really an opportunity for us to reach out to you, but also vice versa, for you to be in contact with us as the digital economy unit here at the department. So that's a bit of background on the webinar itself. And then what we have been doing over the past few weeks has really been exploring various topics within this regard. So coming to today's session and our discussion with Jade. Today our session and the webinar is going to take a slightly different format. Usually we have various presenters talking about various topics. In the past, we've had everything from digital marketing to legal aspects of online business, to e-commerce, to cybersecurity, etc., where the presenters would share information about tools and techniques and various systems about the digitization of businesses. Today, our format is going to be slightly different, and that's why you'll see from the invitation, we refer to it as a conversation with our tech entrepreneur, Jade Wyngaardt. So Jade will be sharing her story as an entrepreneur, also a story in the digital tech space, and believe me, it's quite an interesting one, because I believe that at the end of the day, business is business, but behind business, it's people and people's stories. And that's really what very often makes or breaks successful entrepreneurs and successful businesses. So Jade will share some of her personal story and her business journey, which is a very exciting one, but then also speak about her experiences and lessons learned in the sector, because very often we get overwhelmed by discussions only about the technical stuff and the processes. But Jade will share her experiences around and lessons learned about what's worked for her, what's worked for her clients, because she owns a business called Click Africa Digital. And in that way, we would like to do a bit of peer-to-peer learning, but also learning from people who've already kind of gone around the block a few times, because very often it's helpful, of course, to learn lessons ourselves, but it's as helpful and valuable to learn lessons from people who have done something similar to us, and don't then, or give us the opportunity not to make the same mistakes or approach challenges with a little bit more confidence than we would have if we didn't know what others have done before us. So Jade is going to take us through that, and then at the same time share some practical tools and tips which we can use in our SMEs, because as you know, the sessions are not focused on or SMEs in the ICT sector, but rather focused on how digital tools and tech can be used for SMEs outside the tech sector. So our speaker today, as you know by now, is Jade Wyngaardt. And then on that note, Jade, just from the department and the Digital Economy Unit, we just want to thank you once again very much for agreeing to be our presenter on the session, and for the time and for the preparations you put into the session. We know you've got a lot on your plate, which I'm sure you're going to tell us about in a second, but we're really excited to have you here with us. And without any further ado, I think I'll hand over to Jade for you to take us into the next bit of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, and I'm so thankful that I've chosen to actually do this presentation. I think that peer learnings and sharing of information, sharing of stories in the business world, in the SME sector, in the startup world is so important. It's so encouraging that we can learn from each other and grow. So that is very, very important to me. Welcome to everyone that is on the webinar right now, everyone that's viewing in the future. All entrepreneurs, I salute you in your journey. I'm going to talk a little bit about me and how I came to this position. My entrepreneurial journey really started about 9 years ago when I met my husband, or my then boyfriend at the time, my husband now, Jade Wyngaardt, who's the co-founder of Click Africa as well. And he left what I would consider a stable job in the call center to intern at this digital agency about 10 years ago. And I thought that was quite strange. But every day he came home and he shared his learnings with me and said, you're such a great speaker, you can talk, why don't you write and try and go into copywriting specifically. And he encouraged me on my digital journey. And I thank him for that. If I look back at entrepreneurship in our families, his mother is an entrepreneur, my grandmother was an entrepreneur. I understood that. I understood the value of skill sets and monetizing them. I come from a poor background. I grew up in Mitchell's Plain. So I had all the challenges that one would have when you're going into something new and you don't know whether or not you're able to do it. But there was one person that believed in me, and I was inspired by that. I then wrote, outside of the fact that I didn't have the qualifications to even be a copywriting intern, I wrote the articles, I wrote a few articles, and I submitted it to the agency that my husband was interning at. And they accepted me as their first content writing intern. And I was propelled into this world of digital marketing. They were servicing international clients, mainly in Ireland and the UK. So it was, the standard of work was very high, and the learnings from that agency was exceptional. They allowed us as interns to learn in every single department, from content writing to social media marketing to SEO, web development. It was all available to us to learn from. And I'm just so thankful for that opportunity now. If I look back at it and I see how life-changing that moment was when I had to decide whether or not I was going to take this route, and take this chance on a skill set where I felt I didn't qualify for. That is what I love about digital. It's so inclusive. It is so embedded in someone's desire to learn and to grow. It is such a mechanism to accelerate someone. So I'm very passionate about digital in general. It changed my life. It saved my life. It made me who I am today. But if I just go back into how Click Africa was established outside of the this new skill set, this new digital space, I got married and I had a baby, and now I was at home, and I wanted to stay home a little bit more with my first child, and that is how the initial freelancing. I started freelancing. I started writing copy. I was an SEO specialist at the time, specifically around link building. That is very technical stuff. I don't actually want to go into it too much because I'm afraid that I'm not sure if the audience understands exactly what that is 7 years ago. But it was a sought after skill, and I was able to buy my first car with it. I was able to do pay for my wedding. I was able to do all of these things with this skill set, and it absolutely changed my life. My husband and I started Click Africa. We formalized it, or I founded it, and I registered it in 2016. And then I was working for Zando at the time in e-commerce, because I love to learn, and I love to learn through work. So even though I was freelancing and doing SEO copywriting and all of the other services as additional income, using digital as an additional income, servicing international clients, I still wanted to understand e-commerce in general. And then I joined Zando, and I was there for 2 to 3 years. Working with Zando, I was the online QC and content manager, and moved into an account management role, assisting with brands like Aldo, Adidas, and bringing them online, managing their stores, etc. So it was what I love about digital and my experience in general is that every opportunity was an opportunity to learn for me and actually implement my learnings for my clients and disseminate that information. So when we finally decided to register Click Africa in 2016, it was born purely out of necessity, need, desire to provide a service that sort of caused an uproar in the ad agency, advertising agency. Reason for that is that we're trying to create value. At the time that Click Africa was registered, we felt that there wasn't enough agencies actually portraying a message or properly to their audiences. So they were following the protocols in place, what you need, the checklist, but they weren't looking at the audience people. And that is how Click Africa Digital, the people's agency, was born. It was born looking at our clients as people and their clients as people, and working that into our strategy. So in my journey with entrepreneurship, I'm just gonna move just slightly on side of my skills and move actually to my journey as an entrepreneur. So the challenges with starting a business, not freelancing, starting a business, were it was and is quite a very difficult and challenging road and journey to take. So I wasn't qualified. I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to run an agency, because that's different from freelancing, because you could be managing different projects, how they come in together, how they deliver that service at the end of the day, distilling what I was trying to convey to my clients in a mechanism or a way that will allow my clients to get the purpose of what I'm doing, and actually have my sorry guys, I'm usually having people. I'm so used to having people to interact with. It's so strange. Okay, so I'm going to take you through my own entrepreneurial journey. I registered my business in 2016, and I faced a very hectic challenge in that same year. So I registered the business. I was promoted twice, so I had 2 roles within the company I was working for. And I just had my second child. So I had a baby that was 2 and a baby that was 1 year old, and I was juggling mom and 2 roles and starting this business. Click Africa services first international client just 1 month after it was formally registered, and then we went into talks with collaborating with bigger agencies. It was Mark 1 at the time, and we were now on track to really move. And I was then diagnosed with breast cancer just a few months after that. And everything came crashing down. It seemed like I was at the tail end of everything. I had to resign my job due to because I was in treatment. And my husband got retrenched at the same time. A few months later, it was an extremely difficult time. However, Click Africa and the why and the reason why it existed was still there. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was 27 years old at the time, on the highs of my life, 2 children to consider, and I was trying to do so much at the time. When I look back at it now, it's very encouraging to see that I made it through something so devastating. I was diagnosed, and I was going through my treatment plan, and I found out that I was pregnant during the actual during my treatment. I got pregnant during my treatment, very, very strangely, because I was on a drug called tamoxifen, which suppresses estrogen, and it's a terogenic. It actually it causes birth defects. And I was standing in the room with a team of doctors, and they were saying, Jade, you have a hormone-sensitive cancer. You are pregnant with twins. And you basically, you can't do this. You're going to die. And by the grace of God, we all made it through that very trying time, and so did the business, with the support of my husband. But when I look at the key lessons learned from that, I look at insurmountable, hormone-sensitive grade 3 breast cancer, no financial support in that regard, pregnant with twins that's actually accelerating this cancer. I went from stage 1 to stage 3 in approximately 4 months. So I was on course to not be here today. But we had a consultant oncologist come in. By the grace of God, we were able to make it through. And when I look at that, I look at my business as parallels. And I see entrepreneurship as parallels to my journey. And I'm so thankful for that. Because what it taught me is that you will be facing experts in your industry. You'll be facing experts in the field. You'll be facing lots of opposition, lots of adversities. But how you delve into your own inner voice, direction, and purpose is so important. That's why I wanted to just talk about the why why are we in business? Why are we pursuing entrepreneurship? Why are we pursuing a particular sector? What are we trying to impact? How are we trying to change things? And I look at my journey and I look at the impossible tasks before me, because I feel like entrepreneurship is like an impossible task. It is starting something from absolute scratch. It feels like an impossible task while you are doing it. But then you look back and you see, what have I achieved? So I just want you guys to be encouraged, everyone that's actually listening right now, and facing impossible circumstances in their business. And the pandemic has definitely brought us to the place where we are really struggling to stay afloat, struggling to keep things together. And I just want you to be encouraged at this point that anything is actually possible if you put your mind to it, if you use innovation, if you apply what you've learned in your failings, because failing is necessary, and use that in order to propel you to the next level. It's very, very important. So I'm just going to be looking at a few things around some of my clients that I've had in case studies later in the session. But I just want you guys to think about why you are in business. What is the reason why you decided to move into the sector, into the business that you're in, and how you can actually demonstrate and accentuate that why using whatever tools are available to you right now. We'll go into tools later in the session. I'm looking at my own journey, my challenges that I faced. I had no formal qualifications in anything I was doing. I was fighting cancer at the time. I was a mom of small children, and I was juggling a job at the same time, trying to build this Click Africa, and what the vision I had for it, and what change and what impact it had to make on people. And when I did the vision exercise through the Tolowana program, which is SAB's entrepreneurial program that they run, which is run by the Fatola business consulting firm, absolutely phenomenal program. I would recommend the applications are open right now. I think I'll share a link on my page that you can actually go and check out. Absolutely phenomenal. When we did the vision exercise, I understood in general why I was doing something. Why did I start Click Africa? Why it started out necessity, desire to have more, and I think that's where I think a lot of entrepreneurs are at right now. It's out of need, out of basic need to have to eat, and growing from there. When you start digging into what differentiates you, why will you overcome these things that are faced, that your business faces, that you face in your personal journey, it will become easier for you to overcome those when you start establishing exactly why you and who you want to impact with your business. In our case, it was the People's Agency. We wanted to convey messages of people. We wanted to understand our clients as people and their clients as people, and deliver a product for them. That is why we boutique digital marketing agency. So we do all the services in one to provide a complete solution for that client. In my journey with my clients, we've seen a lot of small businesses just miss the mark, not understand that digital marketing, that tech is actually a tool to demonstrate the brand's purpose. So I really want to focus on a brand's purpose, or your brand's purpose, or my brand's purpose. Reason for that is that is intrinsic to every strategy, to every success, is how you convey and portray and accentuate your business purpose. And your purpose is actually in part of your why. And when I look at entrepreneurs that are facing the pandemic, I'm hearing harrowing stories of businesses having to close down, but I've also been hearing some amazing stories about businesses thriving in this crisis. And that's pure and true entrepreneurship, is looking at the crisis and seeing an opportunity and going straight for it. Yes, so I just want to take you through a few points on that you can use going forward. I could open this up. Robert, are you there?
Yes, Jade, yeah, you can go ahead. You can share your screen and then we can all see it, no problem.
All right. I just want to talk about this one client that I've been raving about her to so many people, and the reason for it is that her absolute desire, quick adaptability, innovation, all during this pandemic. She came to me. She's a return client. She had a different business last year, and she left that business and she was starting something new. Before the lockdown happened, she had a plan to create a business around just encapsulating all services in one easy sort of phone call. And the lockdown actually propelled her, right? The business that she runs is Hands to Help, which is a virtual assistance business. It's a subscription-based business. You get all of the services that you could possibly get in one little. Everything is in one. Business consulting, personal medical consulting. They are basically online and virtual consultancy service. That's actually what they do. And she was talking to me about it. They came to us with absolutely nothing. There was no branding. There was nothing. She had a concept. It was less than. It was about an email's length, and she said, "This is what I'm going to do. Can you help me bring it to life?" And we went through the entire branding exercise. She understood very clearly what she wanted to do. And Hands to Help was born, which is H2H. So we did everything from the logo design, the website, etc. What I want to highlight about this is that she took this the opportunity. The opportunity here was that businesses were looking for a consolidated service point for everything that they needed. So in terms of COVID relief, in terms of handling all of the personal and financial consulting, everything was being done by Hands to Help. They would phone the lawyers for you. They would do everything for you. And this particular business actually looked at the pain point of what people were experiencing. They didn't know where to go and get everything done, especially small businesses when they needed to do their tours. They didn't know how to get access to everything. So she created this business. She launched in the second week of April, and she grew her following organically to close to 2,600, 2,700 people, all because she understood exactly what was causing or what the pain points were and how she could actually mitigate that for clients, how she could assist them, and how she could obviously accelerate her own business. So she's a wonderful example of how one can use an opportunity or a crisis, find the opportunity and act really quickly. Understand that social media, that your website, your presence, all of it is actually going to help you achieve that goal. Whereas her business was actually going to be a brick and mortar consultancy where you come in, she's turned it completely virtual. She has a virtual office. Her sign-up process is completely online. This is available to her staff members. She bought the mobile internet stations for them, and they work from home doing this for her. And I look at it and I think to myself, this is such a wonderful example of using the digital tools that are available in order to execute vision. This is just a quick and easy, small example. All she needed from us was to do her branding, to do her website, creator forms for her, and she was able to push forward. And she understands that she has. I looked at it and I was amazed at how quickly she adopted it and she adapted. So that is H2H in a nutshell. I'll share links to her page if you'd like to check out her services. She does business consulting, financial consulting, and medical aid consulting. Let me go back. I just want to open up this. I just want to go into her use. So she's completely virtual. It's a complete online application process. She uses WhatsApp in order to send her PDFs and her client documents or her client contracts via WhatsApp. She uses Facebook marketing in order to get out there and engage with the consumers, keeping them engaged, always something new happening. And her office is completely virtual. Yes, guys, this is such a great example of adapting and growing. Her client base, I think she's on close to 1,000 subscriptions for this now. So she's doing pretty well in that regard as well. That is Khadija's hands to help. And then we want to look at the case of Upstream Training Trust. So Upstream Training Trust is a trust or a nonprofit organization that is established by the Petroleum Agency SA. It was a tender that was put out about, I think this was in 2015, and they had another agency build what they thought was going to be an online application form, but unfortunately it wasn't. It was built on Joomla at the time, and everything was upside down. Click Africa, this was our first tender, and we won it, and we were able to build a website for them from scratch. I was in 2016, actually. During that time, we were able to build this and completely integrate the application process for them online. Train the corporate staff in order to use the back end. This is built on WordPress. Use the back end, extrapolate the data, and use it in order to contact the successful applicants. It's just an easy to use resource now, whereas before they were doing everything via you literally have to fill out the application form and mail it to them. So they've gone completely digital now. They do still have the PDF applications, but this is their preferred method. This is available. This can be done on your cell phone. It is mobile responsive, and they were completely blown away by how easy it actually was in order to do this once you have the right agency to assist you with it. In their case, it was difficult because they're corporate and they needed to understand that you need to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to being online. We did consultation services with them, suggested that they move into considering their audience, which was disadvantaged youth in the mathematics area that will be studying around geology and all of those kinds of things. Understanding that it was youth in that area, we suggested that they communicate with them via social media, and they have been. It's been growing. It's been doing phenomenally well. So they went from receiving only 0 applications online and only about 67 applications for the year in the previous year to receiving literally hundreds for the first year with us, and then now they are receiving I think 1,000 applications. So the application process is more. It's a lot. They've got a lot more applicants, but we will be defining that process for them as well later this year to disqualify certain applicants as well. And that's all part of the process. It was quite an opportunity for Click Africa to educate corporates around the process around digitally transforming in this way, sitting on boards, communicating to trustees, explaining why this is important, why this is going to make things easier, streamline things, and they eventually and now enthusiastically adopted it and are changing depending on the data that they are receiving through the application process, as well as the events and the social media interaction. So in this case, it was a complete corporate, not absolutely sort of hands off when it comes to website, to being completely integrated. We've had multiple training sessions. They recruited a very specific person within the upstream trading trust, and she runs their social media, and she's had training with us regarding the website and regarding taking up the data from application forms and how to put that together for presentations, tracking, Google Analytics, all the whole 9 yards basically for the upstream trading trust. It's been very rewarding for us to see them develop in this way and adopt, because corporates in general, trusts, MPOs, it's quite a difficult process to adopt digital transformation in general. So this has been quite a rewarding experience for us as well. So just going back to them, they complete online application process training, consulting, built everything from scratch for them, and it's working well for them, and it's been for the past 4 years. So just some suggested tools. Robert was saying that I should put some tools in that I think will work for SMMEs in general. And I have so many tools, so I'm just trying to bring it down, to nail it down to a little bit. When it comes to graphic and branding, Canva is absolutely amazing. I used it just to show you what can be done with it. Let me just go there quickly. Very simple tool. You don't need a lot of training around this. It's literally drag and drop, easy peasy. Well, what I would consider easy. I need to be very, 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 very careful with that. But literally, you can create all of your Facebook posts, all of your Instagram stories, everything is there, all the sizing, everything is there available to you. There's also a paid version of this that you can use and create even more beautiful presentations and branding and graphic tools. Please, I would encourage you to go and check this out. Maybe share a link around Canva. That's for graphic and branding. Then we'll look at accounting tools that I found very, very helpful, especially running a business and doing it properly. It's been a challenge and learning curve for me, as I was a professional or a skill set that turned into an entrepreneur and now a business owner. All of this information and this learnings that I've used, all the tools that I've used actually helped me run my business better. From accounting, very simple. If you're just starting out, Sage 1, FNB Instant Accounting is amazing. Wave Apps, if you're just starting out right now, you could use any 3 of those tools. I would suggest Sage 1 if you are going to be growing, because it's a powerful tool. It's all inclusive. From a project management perspective, we use Asana, and that is it was the tool that was used in the very beginning when I came to digital marketing, and it has not left me. It was a tool that was used by the agency that I interned with my husband, and it was amazing in the sense that it just kept us all in check on what we were looking at and what we needed to be working on. And it still does it today. In terms of Trello, our vision boards. We actually use Trello just to see our processes, more for process mapping than anything, and Slack for communication, file sharing, just talking to each other. And then from Google products perspective, Google has small business with Google. I will put the link. I'll put the link on my page or somewhere that you can check it. I'm not sure if Robert, I'm not sure if there was a webinar that was done on Google specific products and how SMEs can use that. But there's an entire toolkit specifically for SMEs using Google products and how they can accelerate their business. I can just go into one client's Sparklify that used the Google tools and literally accelerated her. She used Google My Business local listing, and that is absolutely how she was getting calls every day, just using the Google My Business listing and Google Ads for small businesses. It literally changed how she was receiving her clients. If they weren't return clients, they were coming through Google Ads and Google My Business. So please take a look at that. Let me see, small business with Google. Goodness, Google is my friend, guys. Everything that you really need will be there if you just know how to search for it correctly. So this is the Google for small business, and it literally has so many free resources, so many tools. Please, I really encourage you to go and access the toolkits that are here. Go and take a look at what's available to you, because they really support small businesses and using digital and integrating digital for small businesses. Where was I? Yes, let's go back here. And then you'll be able to see all of the Google products. G Suite, which has all the Google Drive and having all your emails hosted through Google, etc., is amazing. And then when it comes to email marketing, I always suggest MailChimp. There's a free option as well. I've assisted clients using MailChimp marketing, and it's so integrated right now. You can integrate each and every section of your online marketing, each and every property within your online presence. Your entire online real estate can really be integrated with each other and tracked, and that data can be used in order to pivot your business. Can be used to hyper target. I don't know if I can get very technical with you guys. I'm not sure. But
that's fine, Jade. You can get a bit technical. It's all good.
So it allows you. It's all about data at the moment. That's a wonderful thing about digital, that there's so much data being collected, but also you have to look at what data is your business putting out there. What are you your clients? So it's important to look at what your digital footprint looks like, what you're communicating, and that needs to tie back to your why 100%. So in our case, everything that we do, we take it back to the why. Why does this particular task, does this actually speak to our brand's why? I'll take a few examples. When we the Youth Start winners of 2019, and the point of Youth Start CT is to look at innovative ways to solve problems, and we looked at how can we solve a problem within our industry and tackle a few societal problems. So we're looking at youth unemployment, we were looking at small businesses and the adoption of digital, and then we were looking at skills transfer, skills sharing, or digital skills sharing specifically, and how we can use those three pillars in order to create a solution that would accelerate all parties. And that's really, I'll put a link to the Youth Start CT specific information. But that was, we looked at what do we have? We have experts in the industry of digital marketing. We have young people that are easily adopts technology, and then we have small businesses that are struggling to adopt the technology and use that to communicate their why. And we just connected the dots, and that was very rewarding. And we will continue to press on with that, of course. And that spoke to our why. We are the people's agency. So when we thought about it, we thought about how does this entire project actually accentuate, does it say this is what Click Africa did, this is what the people's agency would do? And it was a resounding yes, and that is why we proceeded with it. Even with our informal little soccer club that we had in the Woodstock area, I think that it's important for businesses in general to encourage young people to create a safe space for them to show them things. And in our case, we were quite close to the Woodstock hospital that was currently holding a few people there, and the children were just playing around, and we thought, let's create a safe space for them. Let's turn it into something. And Pride FC was born, and the desire and the will and the fun for these kids. They went on to win a cup with George, co-founder of Click Africa. So when I look at that, I'm so encouraged. And let me just tie it back to why. We did it because we're the people's agency and we care about people. So it made sense to do that. But it's not, what I'm saying is that not every opportunity, not every platform, not every means of communication, not every tool is going to work for your why. So it's very, very important for you to understand exactly what your brand purpose is, distill that into 2 lines and refer it back to every single decision that you are making. If you're going to be moving on to a new project, how does that divert from your why, and why does that mean that your why is now pivoting, changing, and evolving? And how does that affect your business trajectory in general, and how you can plan for that? In our case, we were sitting in a strategy meeting with George, co-founder, myself, and our business mentor, and we were looking at what are the threats to our ad model, what's going to come and attack this business. We didn't know that it's going to be a pandemic of sorts attacking multiple businesses. But we understood that the ad agency model is not going to exist for a very long time, because Google is making all the tools are available. So we understand how we're going to develop and evolve with the times and still be relevant and still be impactful. And looking at that skills sharing, or that consultation, or a digital product development, what does that mean? How do we take current pain points in society and create a tool around that? And that is a product that can be sold. So the opportunities within digital are endless, and you might find yourself pivoting slightly or evolving in your why, as long as you're conscious of that change and that trajectory, and that you are planning at least 6 months ahead, and including digital, of course. It will be, but business evolves, so that allows you to actually deal with any threats that are coming up against your business model, or any opportunities that are available there. I think it's so important that you do that assessment on your business, at least at a monthly basis. Work that into your plan on a page, and into your goal list. And that's Robert.
No, Jade, thank you very much. Wow, that was quite a power pack session, and to be honest, there's so many touch points. But firstly, maybe what I do want to just say a couple of things, because the time got filled up so wonderfully. So thank you for that. But firstly, I remember in preparation for this webinar, in one of the media pieces I read about you, they refer to you as a digital warrior. So I can understand probably why that was the case now, because you've really had quite an extraordinary journey and story that you've shared with us. And I think maybe to start there, thank you for sharing not only your professional journey, but also your personal journey. I mean, as a mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, you overcame your battle with cancer. You started a business. You're helping other businesses. That's a lot for for any average person. So thank you for sharing that story. I think it's really important and valuable that you are able to share that, because it's very personal. But at the same time, it has made you and your family and your business what it is today. And that's the reference to the warrior part. I do think why it's also important is that with entrepreneurship, very often it gets romanticized in the sense that it's just this wonderful journey of excitement and amazing things, which is true. But I think probably most entrepreneurs, if not all, can also testify to the fact that an entrepreneurial journey is as much a business journey as it is a personal journey, because those worlds conflate and are all intertwined very, very closely. And it's something which I think should be acknowledged perhaps even more. So hearing stories like yours that you shared with us is a very great reminder about the backstory of entrepreneurship, because it's not only about business and it's not only about creating jobs. There's a lot that goes together with that. So thank you very much for setting that kind of tone. And then moving into the very kind of practical aspects of digital and business and entrepreneurship. I think that you said one thing, that failing is necessary. And perhaps in our South African culture, I don't know how it is in other countries in the world, but there seems to be this, what's the word? Aversion to failure. I think in many other kind of business cultures, failure is celebrated as something, okay, you've learned a lesson, move on. Here, people are not always keen to share their stories of failure because they fear judgment, or they fear other things that go together with that. But I think those are important lessons for us as businesses and for us in government to learn from failures, because I think that's often where the most richest or lessons and experiences do sit. So the fact that you mentioned that was great. I mean, when you went to Hands of Help, I think that was probably one of the, I mean, I know there are many other, but an actual business who's taken a really dramatic crisis and saw an opportunity in there based on, I think you referred to it as a pain point that other businesses were feeling. And that can also be encouraging, because maybe there's not a specific business with such specific pain points, but existing businesses can look at what are the pain points that their clients currently experience. So it's not necessarily a new business model, it's not necessarily a different business model, but just looking at what is your current business model, what are your clients' pain points amidst COVID-19, and that will emerge in the next 6 to 12 months, and how do you position yourself for that? I think that was really, really helpful and valuable. And then I just want to ask you something also with regard to, because I know in part of our prep conversations, you are a very strong supporter of businesses and entrepreneurs learning to do things themselves and empowering themselves in the process. But at the same time, that's I think very often that also becomes a deterrent, especially in terms of digital, because it can sometimes feel a little bit mysterious. I mean, your reference to very practical tools like good old Google with all its free services, Asana, Canva, those are really practical things, and I hope people in the audience will go to those sites and just check it out, because those are available tools, practical tools. But that said, even though there are this wide expanse of tools, sometimes people are either not technically or digitally inclined, so it becomes a bit mysterious, and okay, it becomes a bit of a deterrent. So while you do advocate that people kind of try and do that themselves to empower themselves, in your experience, is there also a time where it's actually, because as an entrepreneur, you do everything, or as a business owner, you do everything or almost everything, and sometimes taking that time to learn a new tool or skill set could actually be a cost, because you could say, is it easier to go to a professional to assist me with this quickly? So something that would take me 10 hours will take someone who knows what they're doing 1 hour. So maybe in your experience, is there I wouldn't go as far as saying a balance, but when do you say it's time to say, okay, I'm going to learn something on my own, and when is it time to say, okay, let me go to a pro for help? Any notes or thoughts on that, because that might be helpful on the way forward.
Yes, definitely. So there's a time to DIY, and there's a time to consult the expert, absolutely. And what you want to look at, for me, the DIY space is when you are very small. You're literally in your ideation phase, maybe, and you looking at other businesses in the industry, or you're doing your research around that. I think it's so important. What I recommend to my clients, especially new ones, that they are interested, and maybe they understand digital tools to a degree, and they want to be in control of the digital marketing, is to consult an agency around their strategy and their competitor analysis. I think these are two products that it's a product of digital marketing. It's not really a service. It's a product, because you get your entire strategy mapped out for you. You look at all the references within the competitor analysis for you, done from an online perspective. Do an online audit on yourself and your presence and on your competitors, and you can use that as a tool and a mechanism. So for me, there's two in this. Although I advocate for knowing and for doing, or for digitally DIYing, always trying and always pursuing. There's also a time to get that consultation and that training from an agency, from a digital expert, digital specialist in that particular field. Also, if you are trying to achieve something very, very specific, you understand it in your marketing strategy, but you need to implement it in your digital marketing strategy. You need to have it needs to be implemented from a digital marketing perspective. Then I say get the experts involved, because in terms of tracking and meeting those touch points and doing what you want the campaign or project to do, I would say then go to an agency. But if you're in that ideation phase, you're looking at your branding, you're playing around with it, but you adapt, then proceed. Everything's available to you. I think that applies a lot to youth entrepreneurs. I've seen it work really well with youth entrepreneurs. They just because they understand their brand, because they are intrinsically creative human beings, and they just move forward with the digital tools, and they're able to establish themselves using that. But that's not always the case for everyone. So in my case, my suggestion is that you can either have a consultation done with the agency, with an expert, get a junior involved if you don't have a budget for it, get a junior or an intern from one of the digital marketing schools, and have them work a little bit with your brand, see how you feel about it. Or if you want to be effective, you do your strategy, you do your competitor analysis, you look at how that's going to impact your goals for 12 months, and then you start implementing either in-house or through an agency. It depends entirely on your need and budget. So that's my take on.
No, great stuff. Thank you, Jade. I'm just watching the clock, and it looks like we have run out of time. So Jade, just before I round off, maybe would you have any last comment or statement you'd like to leave with the audience? We really have about 2 or 3 minutes left before I close off. So before I hand over go over to the next session, any last statements or comments you want to leave with our audience?
Yes, just thank you for having me. I just want to thank you for having me on this webinar. Thank you for your time that you spent here with me. Keep pushing forward. The failures is the beginning of knowledge, of wisdom, really. So use that, apply that, pivot, change, be as flexible as you possibly can. Look at the pain points of your customers and your customers' customers, and see how that actually forms part of the supply chain, how you can improve it. Yes, so keep pressing on. Don't lose heart. Join networks of other entrepreneurs. Share your stories of failure and triumph. And yes, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very, very much, Jade. That was really, I think, in short, inspiring amidst everything else. And we, from the Digital Economy Unit, and on behalf of the audience, we just want to say thank you very much for your time, for sharing a really valuable story, a very important story, and also giving us some great tips and guidelines along the way. So to you and your team, Jade, at Click Africa Digital, thank you very much for your time. I know you've got a lot on your plate there, and by the sounds of it, by the little ones at home also. So from us and the team to Jade, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate your time, and we'll connect with you in the future again. Um, so just to round off the actual webinar to our audience members, we are conscious of time, and so I'd just like to spend one more minute on what's going to be happening shortly in our series. So as I said, today was our Sweet 16 and with our webinar, but next week we'll be focusing on SME financing from an investor's perspective in terms of what does it take or what do investors look at when they look to investing in SMEs. And then going forward into later August and September, we will be focusing on more interesting and inspirational stories from entrepreneurs like Jade to share their stories with you and give some advice on the way forward. So those will be upcoming. And then we also have our previous webinars, which are on our website. You'll see the title on the top of your screen. Not the title, sorry, the link on the top of your screen. So there will be about 14, 15 webinars or recordings thereof on our website. So please visit that when you have time. There's some really, really great content there. And who knows, there might be something that you need, just about need, that will take your business to the next level. So those are, I think, the last things from our side. So in closing, thank you very much again to Jade Wyngaardt from Click Africa Digital for your time and for presenting today. Thank you to our audience. It's really great to have all of you with us today, and then to the digital economy team who makes all this happen in the background. Thank you to you too. We hope to see everybody in our upcoming sessions. And then, so from us, please stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.